tapi yang duduk di atas tanah, landed house. Kita minta kalau boleh buka arahan, dia minta galakkan. Daripada pokok bunga tu, biarlah kita ganti dengan pokok terung. Gantikan dengan sawi.
Hai semua, did the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security just ask staffers to grow their own vegetables? Today, let's talk a bit about if Malaysia is ready for a global food crisis. Over the past few weeks, many Malaysians have been watching the news about the escalating war in the Middle East very closely. Naturally, people are concerned if the war would affect our food supply. Recently, the Malaysian government announced that national rice stockpile will be increased to cover up to 9 months of supply. This move is meant to strengthen food security in case the global supply chains become disrupted. But what does this really mean for us as Malaysians? Today, I would like to explain 3 things in simple terms. Number 1, how secure Malaysia's food supply actually is. Number 2, why global conflicts can still affect us. And number 3, what sensible steps Malaysians can take without panic. First, the good news. Malaysia is not actually starting from zero. Malaysia actually performs reasonably well in food security compared with many other countries. Globally, food security is usually measured using 4 factors: availability of food, access and affordability, nutritional quality, and stability of supply over time. Malaysia ranks relatively well in the region because food is generally available and affordable for most people. Just to give you a few examples, Malaysia produces more than enough eggs domestically. Chicken production is also largely self-sufficient. Fish supply remains strong thanks to both fisheries and aquaculture. These sectors give the country a solid foundation for our basic protein sources. So if you are wondering whether supermarket shelves would suddenly become empty overnight, the answer is very likely not. Malaysia has diverse food sources and established supply chains, so this is good. But Malaysia still has an important weakness. Despite these strengths, Malaysia still relies heavily on imported food. In fact, Malaysia imports tens of billions of ringgit worth of food every year. Certain foods we eat during daily depend significantly on imports, including rice, beef and mutton, onions and some vegetables, dairy products. Also, animal feed like grain maize. Malaysia's rice self-sufficiency is only about 56%, meaning almost half our rice supply comes from other countries. So when something happens globally, whether it is war, climate events, or trade route disruptions, Malaysia can feel the impact really quickly. We have seen this before. During past global supply disruptions, prices of food, such as onions and rice, increased because exporting countries restricted their shipments. And this is the reality of living in a highly interconnected global food system. Some people might ask, Iran is far away, over 6,000 kilometers away. Why and how would it affect our food? Actually, there are 3 main reasons. First, energy prices. The Middle East controls major oil and gas routes. When conflict disrupts these routes, global fuel prices can rise. Higher fuel prices increase the cost of farming, fertilizer production, transporting food, importing food, and more. All of this can eventually affect food prices. Second, fertilizer. We talk about fertilizer supply. The Middle East is one of the world's largest producers of fertilizers used in agriculture. Disruptions in the region can reduce global fertilizer supply and also increase prices. This is important because we need fertilizer to grow crops like rice and vegetables. If fertilizer becomes expensive, food production costs also increase. And the third factor over here is global shipping routes. Major maritime passages such as the Red Sea and the Strait of Hormuz are critical arteries for global trade. A huge portion of the world's oil, gas, commercial cargo moves through these waters every day. Now, when these routes are unsafe, several things can happen. Shipping companies may need to reroute vessels, which adds additional miles to the journey. Insurance companies may raise war risk premiums, or in some cases even refuse to insure ships traveling through these areas. And when shipping becomes riskier and more expensive, the effects ripple through the entire global economy because it leads to higher freight costs, longer delivery times, and also supply delays. Think about it this way. You also would be quite upset if your Shopee or Lazada parcel arrived late, right? Now imagine important goods like oil, medicine, electronics, or food imports all are being delayed. When supply becomes slower or more limited, the basic rule of economics comes in. Supply falls, prices rise. And this is important for us in Malaysia because more than 90% of Malaysia's trade moves by sea, which means our economy is deeply connected to the stability of global shipping routes. When international maritime routes become unstable, even a country thousands of kilometers away start to feel the impact. So what's the government doing? The government has already taken several precautionary steps. Number one, increasing national rice stockpile to 9 months. Right? This is a buffer so that it can stabilize the market if imports slow down. Second, there's renewed focus on local food production. You may have heard of discussions about encouraging Malaysians to grow simple crops like chili, eggplant, leafy vegetables. This is actually inspired by a historical initiative called Campaign Buku Hijau in the 1970s, when households were encouraged to grow food locally during economic uncertainty. Now, of course, home gardening alone will not, I repeat, will not replace national agriculture, but it helps build resilience and awareness. Beyond that, what should Malaysians do? At this stage, the most important message is stay informed but do not panic. Panic buying is actually one of the fastest ways to create artificial shortages. We saw that during COVID-19 when people rushed to stockpile items like toilet paper. Supply chains become strained even when there was enough food overall. Instead, some of the sensible habits that can make a difference would be avoiding food waste. Malaysia wastes a lot of food every year, especially during festivals. Reducing this waste is one of the simplest ways to improve national food resilience. Secondly, we need to buy responsibly. Just purchase what you need, not what you fear may disappear. And third, support local food producers. Buying local vegetables, poultry, fish and fruits helps strengthen Malaysia's agriculture sector. And also, finally, consider small lifestyle habits. Even something simple like growing herbs or chilies at home can reconnect people with the food system. Malaysia is not facing an immediate food crisis, but the global situation reminds us that food security is not just about farms, but also about global trade, geopolitics, climate economies, and public behavior. In a hyper-connected world, everything is interconnected. Malaysia has taken sensible precautionary steps, but for the public, the most important response is to stay calm, have awareness, and live in moderation. Continue celebrating our festivals, live our daily lives, but also remember, every small act from reducing waste to supporting local food contributes to national resilience. And in such uncertain times, resilience matters.